Hi, Tammy Cochran here with GLC Paper Passions. Just back to share a quick project with you. I've been playing a little bit with the new Nuvo Glimmer paste and Colorburst powders. I just love the rainbow effect that I was able to get here, and it's just stunning when you add the Glimmer paste with a stencil over the top. So let's get started. What we're using today is Prima watercolor paper. I'm just starting off by spraying the front and the back of the paper, and this just helps to keep the paper flat if you don't want to tape down your paper. Stops the curling a little bit, and so then you just go in and add a little bit of Colorburst powder at a time, and if you don't have quite enough of the color that you're looking for, then just go ahead and add another couple dots. It's really great how it bursts when you sprinkle it on the water. I love that effect. Now it's helpful to have a little paper towel or coffee filter or something on the side so you can wipe your brush off in between each color at this stage. Now you could use a regular paintbrush as opposed to the water brush that I'm using. My personal preference, I like the convenience of having the water already into my brush, so it's easy to just squeeze it onto my paper as I need it. Now, after you've got all the colors on there, you just go ahead with a clean brush and squeeze so you get a little bit of extra water there, and then start at the top and blend your colors all the way through. Now, I'm using a Tim Holtz heat tool for drying the project really quickly. So now that the paper is dry, I'm just taping it down because it tends to warp a little bit as you're drying, and you want a relatively flat surface when you're adding the paste through the stencil. So I'm just using the Nuvo paste here, applying it through the stencil with a plastic palette knife. I'm just taking a little bit of the paste at a time and smoothing that over the stencil as I go. Trying to be careful because the Colorburst powders do stay reactive, so if you get too much of the glitter paste and you have to scrape it back into the container, you might get a little bit of color bleeding through there. And just want to keep my paste pure. So once it was dried, I trimmed everything down to a nice card size, and you can see a little bit of the dimension there with the close-up. So I wanted to have another extra panel so I could do some die cuts. So I'm starting here and making up another watercolor panel the same way that I did before. I'm going through all the colors one at a time and washing it out with the brush in between each one to get that rainbow effect. So through the magic of video, we'll fast forward here and go ahead and get this good and dry. And then I used a Sizzix Bigs die to cut out the hearts from the second panel. I had some colored twine in my stash, so I wrapped that around and used some score tape on the back to help that stick really well. Added a few Stampin' Up! Dimensionals to get that extra height and dimension on the project. So now we've got the panel matted on a card front with some black card stacked behind it to help it pop, and added the heart on there, and I used a die cut from Tim Holtz to punch out the word love and adhered that to there. Now on the inside, I thought I would take advantage of some of my scraps, and I used a triple punch by EK Success to get a couple of different layers of the heart, and then I just did the piece them together for an inlaid effect and add a little bit of interest for the inside of the card. So here's the finished card. Thanks so much for watching and joining the tutorial today. I hope you get inspired to try something new and get a little inky. Have a great day. Happy scrapping.